Wait. Yeah, it has started recording. Okay, so okay, everybody can see the slides. You can see it. See the slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so today we'll see other carbanions and also allyl condensation reaction. Okay, so if you now look back, just a small recap also, that we have learned Grignard reaction and organolithium reagent. So organomagnesium reagent and organolithium reagent. So in those cases, you have seen mostly the anion is located on a carbon center. In short, those are also part of carbanions, right? Now you can easily connect. Those two are nothing but carbanions. Okay. So then we have seen how those carbanions behave, how those carbanions react with carbonyl compound. So mainly those Grignard and butyl lithium, those are the ones that are mostly used, and those are basically in your syllabus for topic. And there are only few as other carbanions, but it has a separate category of name reactions. We will see those name reactions one by one. So let's see first what are the other carbanions that we can look at. One of those are acetylide anion. Okay, CH triple bond C minus or RC triple bond C minus. This part of the talk is actually from Peter Sykes' book. You can look there and you will find all the materials. Now, if you take either this acetylene or functionalized acetylene, and then if it lose one of this proton, then it will form this acetylide anion. Okay. Now, as you know, in acetylene, these carbons are sp in nature. So if these sp hybridize, that means they are sufficiently pull the electron, which makes this, yeah.
So have you changed the slide? It's not showing.
Okay, yeah. So then it is the same problem that we faced last time. Okay. Yeah. Now can you see?
No, I can see only the. Now I can see. Yeah.
Now it has come. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is, I think, the problem with the full screen mode. Okay. So we have to only stick to this not full screen mode. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we take this acetylene or functionalized acetylene. In this case, what we see that this carbon is sp hybridized, which makes this proton as acidic in nature, which you already know. Now, if we add some base, that base will pick this proton and it will lead to acetylide anion. What kind of base we can use? We can use sodamide, I mean NH2 and liquid ammonia, or we can use the alkyl lithium or alkyl magnesium halides. Because I already told you that alkyl lithium or alkyl magnesium, first it acts as a base, very strong base. If there is no acidic proton, then it acts as a nucleophile. So it picks up this acidic proton and converts it into acetylide anion. This acetylide anion is has three different aspects here. It is a stronger nucleophile than the cyanide anion. It is stable nucleophile, so it does not require any stabilizing group like C double bond O or C triple bond N or something like, or NO2 or something like that. Okay. And third is, as you can see, that it lead to C double bond C bond formation by adding two carbons at once for further functionalization. What I mean is, if this anion now react with a carbonyl compound, you can add two carbons at a time, or if the R group is more, you can add more carbons at a time. Okay, but two carbons in the sense that you have a functional group, the alkyne functional group having two carbons to be added. Okay, which can be further functionalized. So then let's see one or two reactions. Yeah, if we take a ketone R2C double bond O and we take this acetylide anion, then this negative charge will attack to this carbon, forming this species, which can pick up a proton from liquid nitrogen to give this alcohol. Okay. Now, what I meant by this is that this C triple bond C, where you have two carbons, this is a functional group which you can further react. Let's say in presence of hydrogen, in presence of palladium, barium sulfate or palladium calcium carbonate, which is called Lindlar's catalyst. You have studied this one before. What it does, it gives cis hydrogenation reaction. So these two hydrogen can approach from the same direction so that you get a cis alcohol now, a cis compound. Okay. So basically you can end up with a cis alcohol. So when, let's say, you want to make some new compound, or you want to make a C triple bond C or C double bond C functionality, if you want to incorporate, then this kind of reactions are come into the picture. Okay, so first this C triple bond C acetylide reacts here, it abstracts a proton to form the C triple bond C. This can be reduced, okay, to form the cis hydrogenation. This is something, just an example. There could be some other reactions which are possible. For example, if you take this kind of compound where you have this acidic proton left, add butyl lithium, it takes up this proton to form this negative charge here. Or yeah, this is the Li positive and this is the negative. And then if you take a ketone, then this reacts to this ketone center, and after it picks up proton from water, it can form this 3-degree alcohol. Okay. So this kind of reactions are there in the Cladens, these reactions. So here, instead of butyl lithium, a Grignard reagent can be used. So this Grignard reagent also does the same, picks up this proton, do the negative charge here, then react with, let's say, formaldehyde. Then you can get this primary alcohol here. Okay. Okay. This is very easy. This is not very difficult, I guess. Okay. This much is clear. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now go to other carbanions. Okay. So in the category of other carbanions, we can make it a general equation or general example. So what does it mean by carbanions? That you have a carbon center with a negative charge. For that negative charge to happen, you need a acidic proton. So that is why we have a proton, and we have three different groups X, Y, Z. Now you add base. If this proton is sufficiently acidic, will be picked up by this base to give this anion C minus XYZ, which is called the carbanion. Okay, these carbanions are very important in organic chemistry, and lot of reactions are being done through this carbanion chemistry. Okay, because this carbanion can act as effective nucleophile. But as you can see here that this negative charge has to be somewhat stabilized. If it is too much stabilized, then also it cannot act as effective nucleophile. If it is not stabilized, then this species may not generate in the first place. So this species has to be stabilized to some extent. And that is why when these XYZ groups are, any one of them are electron withdrawing group, then these groups can stabilize this carbanion. Then the carbanion will be called as a stable carbanion. Many times it can form also the enolate species. Okay, the carbanion, when it is connected to, let's say, carbonyl center, close to carbonyl center, it will form an enolate species by resonance stabilization. We will come to those, okay, very soon. Then these carbanions, so this is a general equation that you have a molecule where you have a acidic proton, you have groups which are somewhat electron withdrawing in nature, and then after adding the base, it will form a negative charge on the carbon, and this will form a carbanion. Now we can take this carbanion and react with different carbonyl compound. Let's say we can take a ketone. So then this carbanion can attack to this carbonyl center to form this O negative species, which can take a proton from water to form OH. Now generally you would end up in this product, but if the condition favors, then what happens is this OH, and if you have a hydrogen, if this any of this XYZ is hydrogen, then you can have a possibility of elimination of water molecules by dehydration reaction. So then you can end up with a double bond, C double bond C. Okay, we will see what kind of condition favors dehydration and what does not. We will see that one. So overall, you first form the carbanion, and these carbanion are very useful for reacting with carbonyl carbon. Okay, and then the dehydration results. When this dehydration can happen, the dehydration can happen if the hydrogen is present at the alpha carbon. That I already mentioned that XYZ should be, one of them should be hydrogen. Then only you have the possibility of dehydration. Otherwise, it would be a different compound. It may not lead. Okay. Second point is that dehydration can happen to form the C double bond C when this C double bond C would be in conjugation with other sort of conjugated species. For example, you have other carbonyl C double bond O group or C double bond C group, where this newly formed C double bond C group could be in conjugation. Then only the formation of the dehydrated product will be more. Okay, so there are two criteria or two conditions. One case, if there is a proton which is sufficiently acidic present at the alpha carbon, and second case, if the resulting C double bond C could be in conjugation with any other C double bond O or C double bond C groups or phenyl groups or anything which could be in conjugation, then the dehydration takes place. So as I said, there are plenty of examples for this carbanion nucleophile based reactions. For example, we have aldol condensation that we are going to see now. Parkin reaction, you might have heard about it. Novanagel and Stobbe reaction, you might also have heard about. Claisen-Ester condensation, which is very, very important reaction. Benzoin condensation, Wittig reaction, etc. Okay. So now we will now come to aldol condensation reaction. Aldol condensation you all have studied. Like Cannizzaro you have studied. Similarly, we have aldol condensation. But here again we will go little bit in deep than what you have studied in your previous classes. Okay. So the first criteria, as you can see from the slide, or as you know already, that the criteria for aldol condensation reaction is it must have an acidic alpha hydrogen atom. If there is no alpha hydrogen, if there is no acidic alpha hydrogen atom, then aldol condensation cannot happen. But then what would be the reaction? That reaction would be called Cannizzaro reaction. Correct? That we have seen already. In absence of alpha hydrogen, it's the Cannizzaro. In presence of acidic alpha hydrogen, it is the aldol condensation. So, what is aldol condensation? You take, as the name suggests, aldehyde and alcohol, both, right? Aldol. So, you take, let's say, an aldehyde at first, and then you will see that there is an alpha hydrogen atom. Why? Because you have this carbon is electron deficient in nature because there is a C double bond O. So this hydrogen is acidic in nature because the negative charge that forms here could be in conjugation with this carbonyl carbon. So this hydrogen is acidic in nature. So we have taken the acetaldehyde. Now if we add base, as you know, this will take up this proton, form a negative charge like this. So now this negative charge can be in conjugation with this double bond O. So the double bond comes here, it forms the single bond O negative. Okay. Now this aldehyde, this is a carbon ion, the carbon ion that we discussed before. This is the one, and in this case the carbon ion is stabilized by this C double bond O, the electron withdrawing group that we are talking about. One of the group from the XYZ should be electron withdrawing, then the carbon ion formation will be easily possible or stabilized. So we have this criteria over here. So this carbon ion is now stabilized and it is resonance stabilized as also. Now you have another molecule of acetaldehyde in the medium. This bond comes, this double bond, which is nothing but this negative charge. This negative charge now attached to this aldehyde. It forms O negative, so CH3, CHO negative, CH2, CHO, correct? Which can take up a proton from water to form this CH3, CHOH, CH2, CHO. So you have an aldehyde and an alcohol. It's called 3-hydroxybutanol. Okay, the yield is 98%. Okay, the reaction is fairly simple. But what are the criteria? What are the attributes of this reaction? The first step, that is abstraction of this acidic hydrogen, acidic proton, takes place in the rate determining state. Means this is the slowest and reversible step. While this carbon ion attacking to another starting material, another acetaldehyde, takes place in the fast and reversible step. So this is the rate determining, that is the slow step. This is the fast step. How can we prove that this is the rate determining step? We can prove generally by taking this radioactive or isotope labeling experiments. Okay. In this case, we can do this isotope labeling experiment. So you take base, you take acetaldehyde, it forms this carbon ion like this. Okay. Now, if you do this reaction in D2O medium, what will happen? There is a possibility that O negative will come. This double bond will pick up this. This negative charge will pick up hydrogen from D2O. Like this reaction is reversible. That means what? The water, it takes proton from water and comes back to here. And when you have OH minus, it takes the proton and comes to here. Correct? So that means if this is the first step, if this is the rate determining step, means if this is the slow step and this is the first step, then this would come back here. But because this is the first step, very rapid and fast, the moment it generates, it attacks here and forms this product. It does not go back here. Okay? Because this is the first step. So what would you expect if this is the rate determining and this is the first step? You would not expect incorporation of D in this molecule, correct? Okay, one more time what I said. This is the mechanism. You have this alpha hydrogen you have OH minus, takes up this proton, negative charge, it attacks to another acetaldehyde, forms this product. We are saying that this is the slow and redetermining step, this is the fast step. How can we prove? We can prove by using D2O, the isotope labeled solvent. Okay. Now, because this is the slow and redetermining step, this generates, but because this is the first step, the moment it generates, it will attack here and form the product. Okay. But if this is the slow and this is the first step, then once it forms this anion, it would also like to come back here. Okay. So in this case, we do not isolate this product. The incorporation of D2O is not isolated. That indicates that this is the first step and this is the slow step. Okay, got it? So in this case, then what is your rate of reaction? Rate of reaction means here you have, this is the redetermining step. You have a molecule of base and a molecule of the acetaldehyde, which is involved. So it is basically second order reaction. So here are these 4 points. What are these things? As I said already, first step is RDS, redetermining step, and second step is the first step. Here, overall equilibrium lie in favor of the aldol product, because as I said, this is the first, so this is slow step, but the moment this forms, it immediately leads to the product formation. So the overall equilibrium lie towards the right hand side, that is towards the product formation. Okay. Third point is no D incorporation occurs in D2O when the reaction is done in D2O. So second step is first step, that is the proof. And in 4 it says all the steps are reversible in nature. Okay. So this is the normal course of the reaction of aldol condensation reaction. Clear? Everybody clear? Now let's see what will happen for ketones. What is the reaction for ketones? For that we take acetone. Let's take acetone. Okay. If we take acetone and if we add the base, then what will happen? This base will again take up this proton to form a negative charge here, this one. This negative charge could be in conjugation with this double bond O, that is this product. Okay. Now if in the next step, this negative charge can attack to another of this molecule, that is this acetone. So this negative charge reacts here to form Me2C double bond O, this one, plus CH2CO CH3, CH2CO CH3, right? And this negative charge can take a proton from water to form this Me2CH, Me2COH, CH2CO CH3, which is called diacetone alcohol. Okay. Now, in this case, the difference is only in one place. Where the difference? In this case, this acetone center, you know, aldehyde is more reactive than ketone. So this ketone center is less reactive compared to the aldehyde in the previous case. Okay. Because this ketone is less reactive, this step now becomes the slow step. In the second step, which was fast in the previous case, now becomes the slow step. If this is the slow step, this becomes the fast step. Okay. So the base picks up this proton in a fast and reversible step, but this negative charge, this carbanion, reacts to this acetone in a slow and reversible step. Okay. How do we prove that? So because this is the slow step, this intermediate, this carbanion which is generated would like to go back to the previous acetone. So if we carry out this reaction in D2O medium, we can easily isolate the product where this D has been incorporated into this H2, into this protons here. Okay. So then what is the rate of the reaction in this case? Here you can see there are 2 acetone involved and 1 base. So 1 base and 2 acetone. The reaction is actually third order in this case. So these are the points again. In this case, the first step is fast and second step is RDS, rate determining step, slow step. In this case, the overall equilibrium lies on the left hand side. In this case, it lies towards the left hand side for the acetone formation in favor of acetone. Okay. The ketone carbonyl carbon is less reactive. This is the crucial point. So when, let's say I give you a question in the exam that compare the reactivity of aldol condensation between acetaldehyde and acetone and explain the difference of their mechanism. Let's say if I ask this question, what would be your answer? Your answer would be first, let's take acetaldehyde, do the reaction to form this the product, and then take acetone and do the product, and then you tell that yeah, in case of acetaldehyde the carbonyl center is much reactive, so the second step was fast, but in case of acetone the reactivity of the carbonyl center is less reactive, so in this case the second step is rate determining step. Okay, and then you can give the deuterated solvent incorporation example. Okay, so in third point we are saying that ketone carbonyl carbon is less reactive than aldehyde carbonyl carbon, and that is why this is the rate determining step, this is the first step. Okay, in this case de-incorporation takes place in D2O medium, so the second step has to be rate determining step. Because this is rate determining step, it comes back here, so it will abstract the D from the solvent D2O. Okay, now in this way, let's say if I do this reaction in the base medium, this diacetone alcohol formation takes place only in 2%. In other case where we did the reaction with acetaldehyde, we got the product 3-hydroxybutanol in 98%. So in this case the product yield is very less, but with 2% yield it is very much not a very favorable way to get this product. How can we improve the product yield? How can we get more product? For that, the same reaction is carried out under continuous distillation and siphoning process. Okay, so it says the reaction yield can be improved by continuous distillation siphoning process in Soxhlet apparatus using barium hydroxide as base catalyst. So what is going on? What happens in this case? You have to know one thing. Acetone has a boiling point of 56. Diacetone alcohol has a boiling point of 164. So who will be boiling first? Acetone, because it has a lower boiling point. If you take these two mixture, who will be boiling? Definitely your acetone will start to boil, and this will start to boil only if the temperature exceeds 164. Correct? So in this case, in your reaction mixture, then what are the things present? There is just acetone present and diacetone alcohol is present. What does it mean by distillation and siphoning process? Distillation means, let's say this is your reaction flask. Okay, this is a technique basically. How do you improve the yield using this technique? Okay, so this is basically, let's say consider a round bottom flask, and here you take your starting material. What is your starting material? Acetone, and you need a base. We take barium hydroxide as the base here. So then after some time, what would be the product yield here? the product yield will be 2%, correct? Because this reaction gives only 2% yield. So here you have a product yield of 2%. So 2% of diacetone alcohol will be present and rest 98% will be acetone. Now what can be done is take this entire mixture. So barium hydroxide is a solid, it will remain in the bottom as a precipitate, but the acetone will be on top. So let's take this entire material here to siphon it. Okay, now just heat this one. Then what will happen? Which one will boil? As I said, acetone will boil. So acetone will boil and then you cool it, condense it, it will come here. Correct? So what will remain here? Here diacetone alcohol will remain because that will not be distilled. That will not turn into vapor. So we get the acetone back here, but the diacetone alcohol remains here. Again do the reaction for some time. Again you have 2% of this yield, diacetone alcohol yield. Again siphon into here, do the reduction, do the distillation process. Then again the acetone comes here. So you can do this in a continuous process, like continuously. It is coming here and then also it is distilling and coming here. Got it? Got the setup? In this way, what will happen? After some time, you will see that in this flask, there are only diacetone alcohol. The amount of acetone is very, very less. Okay, amount of acetone decreases here. Only diacetone alcohol remains. So, while in the conventional method, you get only 2% diacetone alcohol, after this siphoning and distillation process, you can get 70% of the product. Okay, that is quite enormous. From 2% to 70%, that is significant. Okay, got it? Everybody understood this mechanism?
Yes.
Okay.
So why are we specifically taking barium hydroxide?
Yeah, barium hydroxide is a solid base. Okay, so it will stay in the bottom. But if the base also comes here, then the base cannot be again taken back. So you don't want the base to come here, but only the acetone to come here and save the diacetone alcohol here. So barium hydroxide is a solid. It will just lie on the bottom. It won't come to here. Here you get acetone and diacetone alcohol, where the acetone will come back here. So you just accumulate the diacetone alcohol here. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just remember one thing, that this reaction is being carried out in base medium, where the crucial point is the reactivity of this acetone carbonyl carbon. Okay. But cleverly, if we just convert this reaction from base promoted to acid promoted, then the mechanism actually changes. Then the situation is also changes. The course of the reaction changes if we change the reaction from base medium to acidic medium. Why? What happens here? So we have this acetone, we take proton, it protonates. The moment it protonates, this carbon now gets the del positive character. That means the electrophilicity of this carbon increases drastically. Okay, now this protonation also leads this hydrogen to go and there's a double bond. Enolization. This process is called enolization. So this acid medium, the acetone, could easily lead to enol product, enolized product, and also this acetone carbonyl carbon becomes highly electrophilic in nature. So now this enol part, earlier it was the carb anion part, this time it is the enol part, in and all. So this is why it is called enol. So this double bond comes here, this double bond now can attack to this carbon center. Okay, so this one you can also represent in this way, just single bond OH and a plus center here. So then this OH bond comes here, this double bond can attack to this positive charge. Okay, to form this OH, because this is the one, Me2COH, CH2, COH, it will be a plus, and CH3. Now it can lose a proton to form this diacetone alcohol again. Okay. So in this way, the reaction becomes much easier. So remember these two things. One is base catalyzed, one is acid catalyzed. Toward this end of this aldol condensation reaction, there are few more variations of these reactions that we will discuss in the next class. But at the end, we will solve many problems, and those problems will give you a very nice idea where you would want to use acid catalyzed and where you want to use base promoted. Okay. So in this case, for the ketones, generally, if we use this acid catalyzed, we can get this product in high yield. The yield is, I think, not written here, but we can get high yield here. Now, then we discussed also previously that there are also possibility in some cases that you would end up having dehydration, dehydrated product. Now, there are two cases. One is this then base promoted reaction, one is acid catalyzed reaction. It has been observed that this acid catalyzed condition, the dehydration is easier. What did I say? I said in acid catalyzed condition, the dehydration is easier than the base catalyzed one. So in many cases, you get the dehydrated product in acid catalyzed. But if it is in base catalyzed, generally maybe the reaction will lead to some other pathway. So that is why most of the cases base promoted dehydrations are not obtained. Okay. So this diacetone alcohol, you have this OH, takes a proton, becomes OH2, becomes a good Levene group. You have a proton here, which is the criteria as I discussed in HCXYZ condition. Then this bond will come here, this will go, and you get the double bond. So in this case, you get the mesitile oxide. Okay, after dehydration. Yeah, so it fulfills the criteria that you have one proton here which is acidic in nature. Then this double bond is also stabilized because you have C double bond O group here which could be in conjugation. So because of these two factors, the dehydration can take place. Okay. Okay. How this base catalyzed dehydration can take place? In this case, you need to have also an acidic proton. So this H minus can take up this proton. Then this OH has to be sufficiently good Levene group. Then only this negative charge will come and this can go to get the same butanol. Okay, or it's called protonaldehyde. But as I mentioned, base catalyzed dehydration is relatively unusual. Most of the cases you don't get it. Presence of acidic hydrogen is crucial. It is must, because as you can see that it goes by this negative charge here. Otherwise, it won't lead to this dehydration. And you need to have a very good Levene group in case of, in this case, OH on adjacent beta carbon. So this has to be a good Levene group. Then only this dehydration can take place. Okay. Okay, so this is the last one. Now, then what is the scope of aldol condensation reaction? There are actually many variety of aldol condensation that we will see next class. But there are few things that we have to see, that when it is the same aldehyde, that means you take the two molecules which are reacting are same. In this case, like for aldehyde, in this case the reaction is feasible. Equilibrium is shifted to the right hand side. That means the equilibrium is lying more towards the product formation, correct, for aldehydes. But for ketone, as we have seen for the diacetone alcohol formation using base promoted case, in that case the feasibility is a bit poor. because the overall equilibrium lies to the left hand side. But the product formation can be improved by using Soxhlet apparatus by continuous distillation and siphoning process. Okay, so the reactivity of aldehydes are usually much higher than that of ketone. The third possibility is cross-aldol condensation, where you have, let's say, two different aldehyde. Let's say you take two different aldehyde and do the reaction. Then what you will get? You will get four different products. How? Four different products? The two products are coming from intermolecular, right? Intermolecular means what? There are two different aldehyde. Let's say aldehyde A and aldehyde B. Now aldehyde A can react with aldehyde A, aldehyde B can react with aldehyde B. So these are same intermolecular reaction. That will give two product. And then you have crossed two product, means aldehyde A can react with aldehyde B and aldehyde B can react with aldehyde A's aldehyde part. Okay, so you have two crossed product. That is how you have four products. So if the if you get four products and also you do not know which product will have how much yield, because that will depend on the acidity of the alpha hydrogen atom, then it is of not much use in practice. I mean, in laboratory where you want to prepare some molecule, but now you are getting four different products, then it is not a very suitable situation, no? So that is why this cross-aldol, these are just academic purpose, that you are curious to know what kind of products it can generate. But in practice, in reality, you generally don't do cross-aldol. Okay. So this is a little bit less today. We just covered only few things of aldol condensation. In the next class, we will be covering more. So up to this part, everybody understood? Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, good. So then we will stop here today. But there are a few things that I have to mention. Just hold on. Let me first download the attendance sheet first. Okay. Yeah, so the thing that I want to say is I have some official duty from next week. So I won't be around uh, for this Thursday and Friday, as well as on next Monday. So this 4, 5 and 8, these three class we will shift into some other day. So I will be not around from tomorrow actually. So our next class will be on next Wednesday, next Thursday, that is on 11th of February. Okay, we will have class 11 and 12, and then we will see how we can compensate these three class. So 4th, 5th and 8th we will have no class. Okay, but the homework then until now, prepare those, then we can have, like last time we had a common exam, like at the final exam we can have some sort of final exam once we come back towards the next weekend. Okay, I will tell you that final exam date later on, but that remains the homework, that you would practice what has been taught for a final exam. Okay, because this year I think again there will be no mid sem, no end sem. This will depend on the class test. All the grading will be depend on the class test. So we can have maybe one exam to cover all the syllabus. Okay. So everybody heard about it, that 4th, 5th and 8th there will be no class. Our next class will be on 11th of February, Thursday. Okay, and the
Sir,
yeah.
sir, this exam will be for the topics covered till now, that is the aldol condensation.
Yeah, up to aldol condensation. Yes. Yeah. Starting from the beginning, like this alcohol and acetal, ketal, starting from there. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that is all. And then in the next class only, we will be discussing the answers of the yesterday's, the last class test 2's answer will be discussed in the next class. That is on the 11th. Okay. Okay then. So stay safe.
So like as an homework, we just have to revise whatever has been taught till now, right?
Yes, yes. Just revise those.
Okay.
And the date of the exam you'll tell us later.
I'll tell us later. Yeah. So when I will come, the next class when we will meet again on 11th, that time we can discuss about that date. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.